Who will tell us of the things of old, and of the things that have been, of Ivan, of Ivan Bielovich, of Ivan Tsarevich, and his battle with Vikhor the sorcerer, with Vikhor the Whirlwind. In a certain far-off land lived the Tsar Biel, the White Tsar, with his wife Tsarevna Nastasia of the Golden Braid, and their 3 sons, Peter, Vasily, and Ivan. One day the Tsarevna was walking in the garden with her maids when suddenly a great gust of wind sprang up and tore her away. The wind laughed like a man. This was clearly not a natural wind. But Nastasia was gone. And in time the boys grew older, and the Tsar, who yet longed for Nastasia, asked, "Who will seek my wife? Who will seek your mother?" And immediately Peter and Vasily went to saddle their horses. Ivan wished to go too, but Biel was reluctant to have Ivan leave his side. He did not wish to be left alone, nor to risk his entire family on this quest. But eventually, due to Ivan's persistence, Biel relented, and the Tsar wished his son Godspeed. And on the steppes, Ivan caught up with Peter and Vasily, and they searched high and low, and their trail took them to mountains so tall that their peaks disappeared in the clouds. And the 2 brothers, Peter and Vasily, thought of turning back. They feared those mountains. But Ivan said, "I will go." In time, Ivan found a cave with a steel door, which he pushed open and leaped through. He came to a copper palace whose gates were guarded by hissing dragons wearing copper fetters. Nearby was a well with a copper cup and a copper chain. Ivan filled the cup with water, gave the dragons a drink, and they fell quiet, no longer hissing, allowing him to pass safely into the palace. The Tsaritsa of the Copper Kingdom, held prisoner there, asked what his quest was, and when she heard, she said, "I do not know where your mother is, but perhaps my sister, the Tsaritsa of the Silver Kingdom, will know." She then gave Ivan a copper ball, which would lead him to the Tsaritsa. Following it, he came to a palace made of silver, whose gates were guarded, this time, by hissing dragons wearing fetters of silver, as before. Tsarevich Ivan filled a cup, this time of silver, with water, gave the dragons a drink, and they fell quiet, no longer hissing. They allowed him to pass safely into the palace. Here the Tsaritsa gave him a silver ball and bid him to follow it to a golden palace, which the prince did. At the golden palace, which gleamed like fire, after he'd given water from a golden cup to the hissing dragons in golden fetters and placated them, he met Elena the Fair, the Tsaritsa of the Golden Palace, who told Ivan where his mother, Nastasia, was being held captive. Indeed, all 3 Tsaritsas were captives as well, and Elena, who gave Ivan a golden ball to follow, begged him that should he defeat Vikhor Whirlwind, that he should return and set her free. At last, the golden ball led Ivan to the 4th palace, a palace which gleamed with diamonds and other precious stones on its walls. In it he discovered his long-lost mother, Nastasia of the Golden Braid, who gladly greeted her son, but feared for his safety, for she knew the whirlwind, Vikhor, who ruled all those mountains, would soon return. "Come quickly, my son, I must show you the secret of whirlwind strength," and at once took him to the palace cellar. In the cellar beneath the diamond palace there stood 2 tubs of water, the one on the right hand and the one on the left. Says the queen, "Drink the water from the barrel on the right hand." Prince Ivan drank of it. "Now then, how strong do you feel?" she asked. So strong that I could upset the whole palace with one hand, he replied. Come now, drink again. The prince drank once more. How strong do you feel now? Why, now, if I wanted, I could give the whole world a jolt. Oh, that's plenty then. Now take these tubs, change their places. That which stands on the right, set it on the left. That which is on the left, change it to the right. Prince Ivan did as his mother asked and changed the tubs. Now, said Nastasia, see now, my dear son, in one of those tubs is the water of strength, and the other is the water of weakness. He who drinks of the former becomes a mighty hero, but he who drinks of the second loses all his vigor. Vikhor always quaffs the strong water and places it on the right-hand side. Therefore you must deceive him, or you will never be able to hold out against him. When they returned to her chambers, Nastasia warned her son, Ivan, you must hide under my cloak. Hide under the cloak now, and you must wait for the Vikhor to return. When he returns, he will seek to embrace me. At that moment, you must seize the end of his mace. He has a magical mace. You must hold it with all the strength that you gained by drinking from the waters in the cellar. And you hold on for dear life. He will transform and fly into the air. He will try to shake you off like a flea. He will twist and turn amongst the clouds like a serpent. But you must hold on for dear life. And when he is weak, he will return to the palace, and he will go to the cellar, and he will drink of what he thinks are the waters of strength, and he will grow yet weaker. When he is at his weakest, you must chop off his head, but do it in only one blow. If you hear a voice bidding you to strike again, do not. That is what heroes do. Suddenly, the sky darkened, the palace quivered, and Vikhor the Whirlwind arrived, stamping his feet and transforming into a handsome young man carrying a mace. Tsarevich Ivan barely had time to creep under his mother's purple cloak. I smell a Russian, said Vikhor suspiciously. Have you had a visitor? Not waiting for an answer, he ran forward to embrace Nastasia, but just at that moment, Ivan jumped out and seized the end of the mace. A long struggle took place between Tsarevich Ivan and Vikhor the Whirlwind, who flew away with him overseas and into the clouds. At last, Vikhor became exhausted and sought the palace. Straight to the cellar he ran and took a deep drink from the barrel on the right. Ivan ran to the barrel on the left and did likewise. Now none were as mighty as the Tsarevich. He drew his sharp sword, and with but a single blow chopped off Vikhor's tempestuous head. Behind him, voices began to cry, strike again, or he will come to life. No, replied the prince, a hero's hand does not strike twice, but finishes its work in one blow. And straightway he lit a fire, burnt the head and trunk of Vikhor, and scattered the ashes to the winds. After Vikhor had met his fate, Ivan found a whistle in the palace and blew into it. Two men appeared. One was blind in one eye, the other was lame. What can we do for you, Tsarevich Ivan? They asked. These were the late Whirlwind servants, one called Lame and one called One Eye. And these two men served Ivan faithfully for the rest of their days, accompanying him to rescue the tsaritsas of the copper, silver, and gold palaces. Tsar Biel was overjoyed with his fortune of having his wife and sons magically return with 3 tsaritsas with them. The Tsar prepared for 3 weddings. The Tsaritsa of the Copper Palace wed brother Vasily. The Tsaritsa of the Silver Palace wed brother Peter. And Elena, the Tsaritsa of the Golden Palace, married Ivan, who had defeated Vikhor Whirlwind. It was at the feast I heard this tale, there it was I drank mead ale. Though it flowed down my beard, my mouth stayed dry, for never a drop passed my lips, swear I.